Okay, Elizabeth, how you doing? I've got your post up here. Attached is my storyboard, rough sketches. I believe all the requirements for the assignment. It's not in a shiny viewing yet, just a simple PDF. That's cool. Um, let's go ahead and you say I believe all the requirements, but there are a couple of things missing. So Elizabeth, let's go ahead and jump right over to your presentation, and we'll take a look. Okay, so. It looks like you've got your target audience, you've got some wireframe sketches, and you've got one scenario set up. So okay, let's go ahead and jump to the right written submission, and then we'll take a look, and then we'll determine where we need to go from here. Sound good? All right, so abstract app design for creating shadow read. This will be a simple way, effective way to read books on mobile devices, receive news updates on the go, purchase books online with a simple password. Good job. Good. Really succinct synopsis. So that's great. Good introduction there. Target audience would be 20 to 50. Why 50? Why is it that we're stopping at 50 here? I mean, I think that this app is, if you take a look at research and really try to determine who's doing a majority of the reading, specifically pleasure reading, it would be the senior group. Now, of course, the senior group, or anything older than, I would go as old as 70 to 75 here. And the reason being is because that demographic are typically pretty heavy readers. Now, granted, as we get older in the demographic, computer savviness reduces. So you've got kind of you got to find that sweet spot there. But I'd say 50 that's a pretty limited target audience. Talk about, are they professional? Are they college educated? How old are they? What's the mean and median income? What are purchasing habits, et cetera, et cetera. So you really want to define that target audience to a very, very high degree. Competitors, you've got Kindle, but that's it. I would name at least two competitors. Summarize the competitors' capabilities, then give the pros and cons of each of the competitors. And I would say at least two would be good to include in your competitors list. What I want to fix, I'm able to achieve a seamless way to gather information from not only books, but news articles, good. Focusing on navigation, purchasing, and give more options with resources. Password will always be in place for purchasing items. What mistakes and user error? Okay, scenarios. Okay, now the issue here is we've gone straight from the competitors and the problem to scenarios. So we've actually skipped a very, very, very important step, and that is setting up your personas. Persona is kind of a logical link between the scenario and the summary of the target audience. Okay, so set up your personas, and that describes individual members of your target audience. So you would take one person. So target audience is an overview of the people you're trying to reach. A persona is a summary of one individual. Actually, I'd recommend at least three personas and two scenarios. So the personas are set up as, and take a look in your book. The book does a great job describing describing how to set up your personas. Also, in the announcement area of this week, you take a look, and there's some really good resources in there on how to establish personas. Let's jump over there right now. I think we can jump over there right now. Okay, so if we go to the announcements area, and then right here, welcome to week 2, and you can see there's the announcement. There's the video right there. You want to take a look at that. But right over here is where I really get into, we've got scenarios. Here's a nice examples, including video of personas, how to establish personas, the relationship between personas, scenarios, and storyboards, and how that all relates and points back to the target audience and user profiles. Okay, so definitely want to take a look at these. We've got really good resources for persona, scenario, storyboards, then over here, scenarios, then over here, storyboards. So definitely want to take a look at those. Okay, back to, so yeah, you want to set up your personas. Let me jump over to our list of requirements. These are my talking notes for week 2, and as you can see, we've got this. So you need the ideation of the problem, including detailed target audience, 3 main functions of the app, competitors, including pros and cons. I've talked about that. Establish personas in at least one scenario. So it looks like you've got one scenario set up via storyboard, and that's fantastic. Really good job there. But establish personas and at least one scenario. I recommend establishing 3 personas and at least 2 scenarios. And the personas should be completely different users that fall within your target audience, completely different users. So for example, you could have an author on here as well as a reader. So an author that's interested in this app to see what's going on out there and just try to get their work. You know, just see what I'm saying? So you could have an author, you could have a student, and then you could have another member from your demographic and describe what their habits are, what their intended use of your app is, and how that app can help them. And then then you would express that by setting up your scenario, right? Okay, and then we have you've got a storyboard for one scenario. That's great, but and then you've got your wireframes. Wireframes, I would go a little deeper than this. Right now, you've only got a couple of screens here, and you want to show things like this. So, for example, you've got here's your books. You have category. You have mystery right here. So then don't forget to somehow indicate, maybe an arrow down or something, that category for mystery, that can be changed. I mean, you can actually change that and select your different categories right there. And little things like that, so that your viewer really, really knows exactly where to go and how to get there. Okay, so then we need our sketches, our prototype sketches. So we don't have those. Basically what you would do is you would take all of your main screens with your main navigation and sketch those out and cut them out so that you can start assembling them in your user testing. So for example, you would show your user this screen and you would say something like, okay, now how do you set up your profile from here? All right, and then they would make a selection here. You would say, okay, where would you go to set up your profile? They would look at this, and I don't see any area to set up your profile here. So this is maybe something that you would consider. Then they would look at this, and if they say, I don't know where to go, then that's a problem pointing to the design, right? If they make a wrong decision, okay, so if you say, where do you go to set up your profile? And they go here to news, that seemingly would be a wrong decision. So again, you would record that, use that data for your iteration so that you can make that improvement. So the next time you test, you will have made that screen change. This way you ask that question and you will see that the correct answer from the choices given, right? So really in user testing, there's only one of 2 things that can happen. Either they get it, one of 3 things. Either they don't know, they get it wrong, or they get it right. If they get it right, that's great. Move on to the next screen. If they get it wrong, make a note, collect that data, use that data to make changes for your next user test, okay? And that user test comes in next week. So just as long as you understand, and then keep abreast with the book. I mean, this book is really does a fantastic job showing this whole process and exactly how to go about this in a chronological manner from the first time around, then to go back and iterate and reiterate. Okay, so hope that makes sense. Good scenario set up here. So yeah, this is a good scenario. So she's able to purchase the book on her way to class, and that shows the convenience of the app, and that shows that you're able to really do this on the fly, so to speak, and that points to one of the advantages of your app. So that's good. Okay, so again, from here, we will need to set up. Yeah, just set this up. So expand on your target audience, describe in detail the 3 main functions, describe in detail your competitors, including pros and cons, establish at least 3 personas, and I recommend at least 2 scenarios. Create your wireframe sketches of all screens. Create your storyboard of the scenario, and I recommend 2 scenarios, so you might include 2 storyboards. That's up to you. It's not required, but I certainly think it would help. Complete the task, and then create paper prototypes, photograph, and post for critique. So we need those paper prototypes by Sunday, right? All right, great job. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions at all, not only about this particular set of comments I included in this critique, but in the process at all, or anything that happens to come up, I'm right here. I'm a click away, and I'm really, really good about getting right back to you. So don't hesitate. You won't be waiting for me on a response. All right. Um, okay. That said, all right. That's it. All right, Elizabeth, thank you so much. I hope I've covered everything, and hopefully you don't have any questions. But as I said, if you do, don't hesitate to contact me. Great job, great start. Looking forward to seeing Sunday's continuation of the project. Thank you very much, Elizabeth.